Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside, and today is going to be day one, part one of Signature Garden Annuals installation here in the interior of the garden. It is going to be a big project, so that is why we're going to do it in 2 days. We are not going to kill ourselves and try to get it all done in one day. This is going to be a two-part, so you're going to see the first part today. The completion will be tomorrow. So what we're going to do before we even get started with doing anything, I just kind of want to give you a big overview, talking about what we're going to do today and then tomorrow. Andrew is currently pulling the annuals out of the greenhouse and going to be bringing them down. Of course, we are here in the Signature Garden, nice and early in the morning. I have my little furry companion with us here today as well. What we're going to do is, with the Signature Garden, we have what basically I call the 4 interior flower beds. Essentially, they are a triangle, except where the benches are, there is a curve there. You will see that there are pansies and violas that are just they're ready to come out. They are struggling. So all of the pansies and violas in the interior 4 beds are going to come out. The violas in the fountain are going to come out as well. So that is step one. Remove all of those winter annuals out. We are then going to come in and use our Creekside blend, which is a blend of compost and aged pine bark fines here in the bed, because it is a great way to amend the soil. This garden is less than, oh my gosh, 8-9 months old. We have not planted annuals in here minus the violas, and so we need to come in here and amend the soil even more. This is where the tulips were, and you can see, like, this is true, like, native soil, which is sandy. There is some organic matter in here, but because we're planting these beds completely full of annuals, and annuals, of course, I equate them to like sprinters. They do a lot of hard work really fast, one season, and then they're done. So that means that the more nutrition you can give them in the soil and or fertilizer combined, the happier and the more productive and more showy, and they're just going to be living their best life. So we want to amend this soil with as much organic matter and natural food as we possibly can. Yes, we're going to add some slow release fertilizer, but we're just going to really amend this soil. The soil is probably one of the unsexiest parts of a garden, but it is like one of the absolute most important. If you have really great soil that you've amended over the years, then your plants are going to show that in how they produce gorgeous flowers and color and growth for you in the years. So we're going to amend the soil. Then comes the task of getting the annuals laid out in the bed. Today we're simply going to put the plants out. We're not going to plant them. We're going to make everybody figure out the exact design, because I still don't know the exact design yet. We're going to put the plants in their place, and basically, y'all know me. If you've been around me with any length of time, as far as like the design, I have to think on it and mull on it for a long time. And initially my thought was that all of these 4 interior beds would be different, but they would go together, like they would coordinate. And then I was like, no, that's going to look too hodgy-podgy and too mixed match. So the beds basically are going to be planted pretty much the exact same to have uniformity. This is my very first season planting this bed, and I have to have some experience in the bed to see what I like, what I don't like, as far as the design and the garden. So that is what we're going to do. Main goal today, recap. Remove all the annuals, bring in the great soil, amend with that, top dress with that. Of course, we will use our biotone. We will use some slow release fertilizer in the soil, bring all the annuals down that are going to go into the garden, lay them out. Tomorrow, part 2, planting. We will plant all of the plants that we lay out today, and basically at the end of the day tomorrow, I want the interior beds to be finished and completed. So that is the main goal. All right, update on the fountain, because, you know, this is an ongoing saga right here with this fountain. As you can see, the fountain is wet. There is water in it. It has been running for, gosh, several days now. We came over and the water is running low, like you can see in the bottom bowl. So the fountain was not like really producing a ton of like splash. That's just because the water level is low. We've had some really dry air. That's just simple evaporation. We just have to keep it filled with water. Jerry did get, as you can see, yay! This second bowl is holding water. So we have got it sealed, so it is holding water. All the levels are holding water and doing great. However, I don't know how the camera is going to behave with me here. It is still this, gosh, y'all, this thing has about driven my husband crazy. This bowl is still a little unlevel. If you can look at the water, it's higher on this end and it's lower on this end. So what we're going to do is when Andrew comes down, he and Jerry are going to hoist this up a little bit, get it level, and then I will come underneath and we will shimmy it up so that it is nice and level. And then at that point, we will be good to go and the fountain will be done, because I kept saying, I am not planting this flower bed until that fountain is working properly. Because as you can probably see, the bed is pretty much destroyed, and even though the violas were looking good, working on the fountain, you know, he's been walking around, which is totally fine, and squishing plants, right? And then one time he had to drain it, so there's a, you know, need to add some soil in right there. And I do not want to put in my really beautiful Super Petunia Hoopla Vivid Orchid petunias in here until it is ready to go. So by the end of the day tomorrow, fountain will be up and going and ready to go as well. So that is the plan. It's gonna be a great day. It's nice and cool here first thing this morning. So the team will be myself, Jerry, Andrew, and Jackson. And then tomorrow we'll have more employees here and we'll just have a big old planting party. So without further ado, we got a lot of work to be done. We're going to start ripping out these annuals and begin today's project. my friends, so we are done for the day. We didn't finish the day exactly how I had planned, but it doesn't matter. So we got one bed completely done. I'm gonna show it to you, and kind of as I show it to you, I'm gonna explain why we didn't do exactly what I said we were gonna do. But we did get the very first bed planted, and I will walk you through and show you all the plants and explain the plants. But what we ended up doing is, as you saw, we first brought in just some great compost, added that in, and went ahead and followed up with the Creekside blend on top. As you can see, this is our compost blend plus the aged pine bark fines. That way, once the plants are in the ground, we're not going to have to come back through and remulch, because once you put all these annuals in the ground, it is quite challenging to mulch that. So that was Jerry's idea. Love that, and it works out fine. If we have some areas that you can see, like for example, you can see the perlite, the little white balls for aeration in the potting soil. Once you see that, we can always come back in here and just dress it up a little bit if we need to. So of course today, really the longest thing on my end that took me to do was to plan out the flower bed, like the design. I had it in my brain what I wanted to do, but I didn't have it nailed down. So it took me a little while, several consultations with all of our different people to get the design nailed down, got it nailed down, and then I was like, okay, I really want to get it in the ground. I want to get it planted. One, for the aesthetics, like I want to see it in the ground, but two, we've hit the warm dry spell here in North Carolina, and in fact, when we get finished with this, I'm going to turn the sprinklers on, but the plants need to get in the ground and get watered, and the other plants that are sitting out need to be watered, so that's what we need to do. Okay, so let's just go through the design and let me show you everything that we did. White Star Caladium is the star of the show here on the inside curve. White Star is going to be 15 to 20 inches tall, and I think 10 to 12 wide on that. So imagine that these are going to be nice and full, and you'll notice that I tried to plant everything with some distance away from the grass. Chandler is the fellow that maintains our grass and just does an amazing job. I mean, all these gorgeous edges, that is what he does. And so I love Chandler, and I want to make him happy, and I don't want to frustrate him, so I don't want the plants coming over too far into the grass, so that way he can safely maintain them. So the white stars are there. Of course, caladiums love the heat and humidity, so they will just grow and thrive and fill in and be this big, huge, beautiful mound. Next, we went ahead and did in the curve was the Supertunia Mini Vista Ultramarine. And now everything did get a little water, so they'll be draggled. But ultramarine is a deep, deep, deep purple, and so that's really pretty. Be a nice thick layer right in there that kind of fills in next to our unplugged pink salvia. The unplugged pink is going to be on the smaller side of it's not a rockin' salvia, but that annual salvia, so it'll be a little bit on the smaller side. And I ended up doing those in groups of 5 groups of 3 through here, because I want my height to be in the center of the bed and then to go lower on each side. So we alternated 3 of the unplugged pink, then of course the Senorita Rosalita Cleome, the one that I just love. So that was just one between those clumps throughout. Now those will grow and be a complete mass together. When this bed really gets rocking, you're not gonna see any soil. Everybody's gonna be filled in together. Now, flipping over, because we see this bed from many different sides, on here we have a purple fountain grass. On the little corners, on both corners, we have the Avovulus. This is the Blew My Mind. So Blew My Mind Avovulus. Again, here we have 2, 4, 6 of them that they will grow in together, be a nice little carpet. And on the back side here of the Cleome and the salvias, that purple fountain grass, then the Color Blaze Newly Noir. So I have 3 grasses throughout there and 2 of the Newly Noir. So nice kind of height in the center and then lower as we go. Now, coming down here on this border, we have the Luscious Citron Lantana. Citron is the same one that I planted at the house. I just really like this color, so we went with the citron. And then on the edge, we did the Supertunia Bermuda Beach. So we are going big, bold colors here. And those Bermuda Beaches, you will notice that yes, they were a little leggy. I went ahead and whacked them because in the long run, it is going to make the plant happier to go ahead and prune them. So you will see there's not many, very few flowers right here. And that was intentional because they had gotten a little leggy and I wanted them nice and tight. And then with the citron, we went really thin. And then as we come in, we make it nice and thick right here. Now, one more plant that we have not talked about yet. So here we have the Avobulus. Look, we have already have a little moth right there. So there you go, little butterfly. Well, butterfly? Yeah, butterfly, sorry. So the difference between a butterfly and a moth, you can tell, is butterflies, when they land, their wings are together. When moths land, their wings are flat. So that's how I remember. So coming in here, more of the citron, and then in front of this purple fountain grass, we have 3 of the Bewitched Green Within the sweet potato vine. I really like this one. This is probably my favorite because it tends to be more mounding. Yes, it does trail, but it's more of a mounder, not as vigorous as some of the other sweet potato vines. And then that beautiful color up against both the purple fountain grass, and you've got the Newly Noir back there, and the unplugged pink. I think that'll be really, really fun. So yeah, so the idea here is that with these beds, as these annuals grow, they will completely grow in together, be a beautiful mass, and you're not gonna see the soil in here at all. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna come in here nice and early because it will be so much cooler, and because this will be in the shade first thing in the morning. The hard part's done. So I'm gonna have more people helping me. So all they have to do is like copy and paste, right? On the other 3 flower beds. They're gonna know exactly how many caladiums and where to put them, how many of the salvias and the groupings and all of that, because all of the beds are the exact same size and shape. Therefore, it'll make it easier to make that happen. And then with the fountain is up, it is going. We are good to go. Praise the Lord. It is labor of love for sure. So love the sound. It automatically makes you feel cooler having that right there. And then the reason that we put the plants in the flower beds is because I don't want them sitting on the grass during the day. I am getting ready to turn the irrigation on, so they will all get watered exactly where they are. But yes, so tomorrow we'll come in here, and in this flower bed will be a mass planting of the Supertunia Hoopla Vivid Orchid, which is a really cool petunia this year, brand new this year. Grew it last year, loved it. So it will go in mass here at the base of the fountain. All right, my friends, let's go turn the irrigation on and get these babies watered. Irrigation is on. It is running, so very good. Even hitting this bed just a little bit, which actually will make those annuals quite happy. And yeah, so we have this bed this whole garden rather, in 3 different zones. The sprinters and the hydrangeas are on one zone because they are drip. And then half the garden is on this zone with the sprinklers. And yes, that one in the back is malfunctioning. I'll tell Jerry. But there are 5 sprinkler heads on each zone, and they will completely cover the entire garden, including the fountain area. So that is great. So we'll run this, and then this zone goes off, and then we'll do the same for the other zone and get those running. So everybody can get a nice good drink of water and be happy, because yeah, the rains that seem to have stopped here and the temperatures are starting to rise. Typical spring in the South. All right, my friends, come back tomorrow. We're gonna get this whole thing completely done. It's gonna be great. Love it. All right, see you tomorrow. Bye.